given that India wants to really position itself as a true global AI leader, or at least one of the top runners there. So what do you think will be the top lever for, in terms of policy, talent, or infrastructure?
Yeah, I think great question. I think we're still grappling with some of the answers around this, but I think largely policy is done. India has got a robust policy in terms of, how do you want to apply AI? What's the vision from the Prime Minister to actually take it forward? I think we would take it as three levers that need to happen in parallel. I think compute's absolutely necessary. Right. And I think we're working towards it in making sure that compute becomes available to our engineers, our developers, but also people who are in academy and university as well. I think the second is obviously talent. India still needs to upskill a lot of talent in terms of understanding what really the after effect or an effect of AI is. But I think more important than that, I think the lever that India needs to now start positioning itself is on the R&D base. Right. I think we are very, we need to focus. In fact, we have to have a dedicated focus between the academia and the corporates to push in more on R&D. There are 2 or 3 functional facets around it. So we've seen the DeepSeek movement. Right. We've seen how a new algorithm can really produce new models and come up and take the world by storm, whereas everybody was relying upon GPT in certain sense. India today sits on a treasure trove of data. And some of this data is not even digitized in terms of what we want to do with that, right? So I think one of the first things that India needs to do is first digitize this data. AI course from the government is one effort towards that, towards achieving that. But I think even beyond AI course, we need to actually have a treasure trove of data amongst all the things, right? From a state subject perspective. So how does the state look at health? How does the state look at education? How does the state look at civic structures of individuals and whether we have that data or not? Once this data is available, we are probably the fringe of the world that we can make as many use cases as you want, right? I've, about 3 or 4 years back, I said driving a self-driving car and creating a self-driving car in US, which has got some very set rules. Yes, it requires machine learning, but it's not that hard. Right. Come to India and drive on our roads with a self-driving car, right? It's a huge, bigger issue that you would face. So I think India needs to go in a lot more varied way on terms of research. And the ideology of R&D should be, how do we make our models more compute friendly? Right. How do we make them more cost efficient? But how do we look at some of the best techniques in science, whether it's neuroscience being applied to AI, whether it's symbolism being applied to connectionism? How do we look towards that with our data? Right. So for example, I'll tell you one of the biggest things, we still don't have a visual language model for India. Even if you now today go towards a VLM, right. Most connotational systems and most imagery comes from the West. Right. How will I explain a farmer that when he looks at this particular pesticide or pest, this is the net resultant that he wants to do with the crop, otherwise the crop will go this way. I don't have a connotational reference to be given. I don't have a context. I think that is where we need a lot of our effort in R&D in terms of what to do. I think those 3 or 4 pillars, if we combine, I think India will leapfrog for AI and also other technologies.